From the Ivy, as famous for its clientele as its simple comfort food menu still owing a legacy to Mark Hicks, to Hibiscus, where Claude Bosi has won critics over with modern dishes and flavour combinations. The world's 50 best restaurants has awarded a wide variety of UK restaurants with a place in its prestigious list since it launched 10 years ago. So what makes a restaurant world class? BigHospitality asked 4 chefs who've run or worked in restaurants that have featured in the top 50 over the period to give their thoughts. But first we spoke to UK and Ireland panel chair and Bloomberg critic Richard Vines at Lanimer in the City of London.
I think one of the things that makes the list so interesting is it's not the best gastronomic restaurant or whatever, it's the best overall experience. And I think it's a bit like looking for partners. Sometimes you look for, how somebody looks or the style, and sometimes, what's in the heart and so on. And, the person you actually want to spend your time with is somebody who combines all those kind of great elements. And same with a restaurant. A restaurant can have great food, but that's not enough. It's got to have great service and really draw you into the experience. And I think those restaurants on the list, you go to any of them and it's an absolute fantastic experience, whether it's a relatively casual restaurant such as Noma or a very formal French restaurant. These are all great restaurants, but they're so different. To me, it's the diversity of the list that makes it so interesting.
Ultimately, it's for the pleasure of the customer. Doesn't matter what the technique is, what the ingredients are, whatever it is, it's for the pleasure of the customer. And I believe that when cooking is the same as anything that takes a product, human beings do something to that product and then they sell it, serve it. So you have the quality of the product, the quality of what the work that's done to the product, and the quality of the way that that product is given and served. And successful restaurants are the ones that can tick all of those boxes. And so service is as important than the food. In fact, when we look at this, talk about 50 best, I would like to see a bit more mentioned about service, because what I've always said to chef, service is more important than the cooking. So kitchen performs exactly the way they should. Everything goes out, you can always get better, but everything goes out as planned, great. One member of staff does a wrong move, says something out of place, does something wrong, you won't come back. And I would like to see, I think I'm going to say now, the 50 best should do some award for service, because I think you can't have great food and a great restaurant experience without that element.
I suppose that you could never eat it anywhere else, I think, and also is very representative of its area. I think the worst thing that happens is when you have these amazing restaurants like Noma, like Farron, like Thomas Keller, and then you go somewhere else in a totally different country and someone's trying to replicate it. And Noma is unique to Copenhagen, and what it does is very unique to its area, to its terroir, to its region, and I think that's fabulous. And I think if you try and take Noma out of that context, it doesn't work, or it doesn't work as well maybe. And I think when you get the replications, that's quite, it's upsetting, and probably for them as much as anyone.
The setting is important. If you're boxed in 4 walls, for me, it's not obviously, it can't be the best restaurant. So the setting is important, and most of all the ambience. The ambience, and that is created obviously by the front of the house team and from our guests. But the guest, the customer, who puts him in that kind of mood is the waiters, the front of house. And it's maybe as well the food, and it's a bit of the wine. It's a blend. And that's, for me, is a restaurant. It's giving happiness and pleasure to people.
I'd say that probably the last thing I'd look at is innovation, because for me, new ideas are not very interesting. A chef that has a new idea, a new way of doing something is not what interests me. What interests me is a sense of excellence, of passion, of understanding, of consistency, of working really hard to achieve in a restaurant a place where people go to eat, to have delicious food, to come away feeling better than when they walked in, to have a sense of that every single person working in the restaurant is involved in the restaurant, is involved in making that experience of eating out a sense of wonder, pleasure, and complete satisfaction.
It's, so many people around the world who are no restaurants, all voting individually. I've no idea what's won this year or what's in the top 10 or whatever. So that's fascinating. So nobody can manipulate it. I like that. But yeah, it's new. I think sometimes restaurants have to renew themselves a bit and, obviously keep doing new dishes and trying to, excite customers, because you have to excite people.
For the latest from this year's event on 30th of April, including all the updates on the top 50 and exclusive videos, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, or check back on site for all the reaction.